the wheels of justice do turn.
A child found dead inside a suitcase in a rural southern Indiana town.
There were no witnesses. There were no family members. There were no acquaintances.
The boy, dubbed Angel, laid to rest without a name. Thousands of tips, but still no answers until today.
He was Cairo Amar Jordan. Cairo would have turned 6 this past Monday on October 24th.
Investigators now on a nationwide manhunt for his mother.
The Washington County Circuit Court issued an arrest warrant for murder.
Wave News at 6 starts right now. Day of mixed emotions in southern Indiana as authorities finally put a name to the boy found dead inside a suitcase by a mushroom hunter this past spring. This is Wave News at 6. I'm John Boel. Myra Ansari's off tonight. The boy, who we now know as Cairo Jordan, was found inside a distinctive Las Vegas suitcase April 16th. Since then, investigators have worked to try to figure out who the 5-year-old was and how he ended up in a suitcase in a field off Holder Road, a dead-end street in southeastern Washington County. Before this morning, he was known as Angel, etched into his gravestone by the Washington County community. The update from police today comes with 2 arrest warrants. The boy's mother charged with murder, and she's still not been caught. We have team coverage on this tonight. Wave News troubleshooter Natalia Martinez has been exploring the bizarre past of Cairo's mother. Reporter Brandon Spencer hears from Cairo's great-grandmother, and reporter David Ochoa talked with the people who live in Washington County about today's developments. But first, we start with Wave News reporter Sean Bowdy, live in Sellersburg, where police tell him they still need the public's help one more time in this case.
Country House 1-2 down to the line. Maximum security.
Maximum insecurity about who would wear the roses.
65-1 shot finishes second, but when the objection came up after that lengthy wait to find out which horse was going to be named the winner, Country House.
Scores of security amid scores of protesters at an unprecedented time of civil unrest, but no spectators because of a pandemic.
Here's the wire. Bob Beffrick does it again.
Another disqualification after a failed drug test and failed efforts to overturn a shocking verdict in a limited edition Derby, still violated by a virus.
After the most tumultuous trifecta in Kentucky Derby history, is it finally time to replace the genuine risk with the foolish pleasure that makes this the grandest day Louisville has to offer? The fans, all the fans, the color, the fervor, the wins, the losses, the thunder of the thoroughbred, pounding hooves, pounding hearts, watching the best 3-year-olds in the world with one chance on one day to run 10 furlongs faster than all the others and live in immortality among the greatest who've ever stepped foot on the most legendary horse track in the world. It's Derby Day on the Derby station, Wave. And happy Derby Day to you. Kentucky Derby, the wonderful, unusual, magical combination of something that only happens once in a colt's life. 20 horses go 1.25 miles in front of 150,000 screaming people. You only get to try if you're 3, not 4 or 5, and only one horse crosses the line first.
Then we wait a half an hour to see if he's DQ'd for not running perfectly straight. Then we wait about a week to see if he passes the drug testing. Don't laugh. That's been an issue 2 of the last 3 years. Welcome into Wave's coverage of the Kentucky Derby, number 148. I'm John Boel.
And I'm Shannon Kogan. We're so happy to be with you today. We have some sunshine, although it's pretty windy. My hat just almost flew off.
Yeah, that would have been good TV. Okay, the storylines are many coming in here, but I don't care what you say. The biggest storyline to me today is you have a horse coming in here with only 2 starts, okay, with the oldest jockey aboard. The fewest starts, oldest jockey.
Mike Smith.
And his connections happen to be the connections that got the Derby ripped from him last year, a week after the failed drug test. You got Amir Zayden, who ordered his trainer to run Taba in Derby
Derby prep race out at the Santa Anita Derby, where he finished first and surprised everybody. And then you got this trainer who's stepping in because Bob Baffert has been suspended and banned. It had to fork him over.
Just imagine the pressure right now on Tim Yakteen, how he must be feeling. Right now, though, let's go to the paddock and say hello to Kent Taylor.
Hey.
This is Wave News at 11.
We are still in search and rescue for what is an ongoing disaster.
First responders still trying to get to and save as many people as possible after deadly flooding in eastern Kentucky. This is Wave News at 11. I'm John Boel. Governor Beshear visited some of the worst hit areas today. Some he couldn't get to by ground, so he had to go to the air. These are some of the photos the governor's office has released while he was in the sky surveying that damage. The Knott County coroner says 14 bodies have been recovered, including 4 children. And we've also confirmed 1 death in Perry County, 2 in Letcher County, 2 in Clay County. And now the Breathitt County coroner is reporting 3 deaths, bringing the death count up to 22. A lot of homes are still inundated and roads are impassable or blocked off by the mudslides, making it difficult for search and rescue teams to find people who are trapped in their homes.
There are so many areas we still can't get to. Devastating for us.
President Biden today approved a federal disaster declaration for 13 counties, which will bring in federal aid to those who need it. Well, Knott County suffered a tremendous loss of life. There are now 14 confirmed dead in that county alone. At least 4 of those are children, possibly from the same family. Their bodies were recovered Friday. Neighbors say the family tried to use a tree for safety after floodwater destroyed their home. The parents tried to hold on to them, and they even threw in ropes in hopes of helping them. But the current was too strong, and the children got swept away.
There was a house there and this trailer with this family of 6. And it just washed them away. We've been living here for 50 years, and this is far and away the worst flood that I've seen.
It's not clear how many are still missing in Knott County. While the search and recovery efforts continue, services for public works are also being restored to much of the county. We know the name of one of the people killed in the flooding in Clay County. Family members identified 73-year-old Walter Hinkle as one of the 2 who died. The governor confirmed a 2nd death in Clay County during this news conference this morning. That person's name has not been released. In Perry County, dozens are now living in shelters after their homes were destroyed by the raging water. The damage is still being surveyed as the water goes down. Still not clear how many homes were lost or how many people are still missing. Shanda Ambrose is still trying to process the events of the last few days.
It's heartbreaking, honestly. There's nothing no one can do or say to prepare anyone for something like this. Not knowing how bad it's really going to get. It's just heartbreaking to see our community is so messed up right now.
She says her family was stuck in their home, and they have also lost relatives in the flooding. Well, imagine being nearly 1,000 miles away from home when all of this started. That's what happened to Reed Miller, who lives in Breathitt County. He was in Oklahoma for work when the rain started. He made it back to his Jackson home late last night to find his refrigerator, stove, deep freezer, washer, and dryer flipped over and his beds floating around the rooms.
Everybody got out. Nobody got hurt. That's a material thing. That can be replaced, brother. A life can't, you know. That's the way you got to look at it.
He says most of his belongings are destroyed. Many people in the Jackson area are still without power or water. The police department's handing out cases of water to the people who need it. Also in Breathitt County tonight, average people stepping up to save their neighbors. Today, during a live report from our sister station WKYT, a former meteorologist from our other sister station over there, WYMT, was rescued. Look at this. Jeff Noble's family was worried about him. They hadn't heard from him since the flooding started. The men helped him get out of his home and into some air conditioning.
The police department had mentioned they were going to have something up here over at Snowden Branch.
It's a scene that played out several times today as first responders, the National Guard, and ordinary people helped get their neighbors out of the water to safety. The floodwater left communities in Letcher County devastated. Now that the water has receded there, people are left with damaged homes and businesses. One of those businesses is Sexton's Used Cars in Whitesburg. Owner Debbie Sexton said their cars were submerged. Some even got washed away by the water. She says the sight of the business being destroyed after she and her husband spent 40 years building it is devastating.
When I was able to get here last evening, this is what I opened the door to our family business that we've had for 3 generations.
Sexton says they're still looking for some of the cars that were washed away. Well, have you seen this photo yet that's gone viral on social media? Bet you have. It's of a teenager sitting there on top of a roof, clutching her dog, waiting to be rescued from the floodwater in Whitesburg. This is video 17-year-old Chloe Adams took after getting to the roof. Her father said his daughter was at home with her grandfather when the flash flooding started, but Chloe could not reach him. They got separated. But we're told her grandfather was able to escape unharmed. Chloe's father says she saved her dog by putting the animal in a plastic container and then swam with it over to that rooftop. Chloe was eventually rescued by a man with a kayak.